All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are now going to preview tonight's game between the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos coming in at 3-5, Bills 5-4, dropping last week's game to the Cincinnati Bengals. This game is in Buffalo, but the Bills just have not been playing great. Right now the spread is -7. And this is the week that I kind of took the points. I've been reluctant to do so just because I just thought the London game was kind of a fluky game for the Bills. I thought they would be able to get right after that, but they just have not looked good since then. And they beat the Giants, they beat the Bucks, but losing to the Patriots badly and then the Bengals, it hasn't been good. They've been playing in a lot of one score games, and I feel like tonight's game could be that as well. Although I don't trust the Broncos either. I picked them the first game against the Chiefs, they didn't cover. Then I didn't pick them the second game, and they won. So now I'm picking them tonight to cover, and they probably won't. So, but let's look at the stats. So Russell Wilson he's been decent for the Broncos this year. 16 touchdowns to 4 picks, 1,600 yards passing. Josh Allen, 2,400 yards passing, 18 touchdowns to 9 picks. Overall, you look at the offenses. The Broncos are 29th in passing yards per game. Bills are 8th. Both teams are like middle of the pack in rushing. Broncos are 12th. Bills are 14th. And then in terms of points per game, Broncos are 17th. Bills are 7th. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the Bills are 15th against the pass. The Broncos are 27th. In rushing yards, the Bills are 19th. The Broncos are 32nd. Now, the Bills are not a very good rushing team. Like I said, they're middle of the pack in terms of the yards per game. So, we'll see. Like, does James Cook finally have a big game? And then points allowed, Broncos are 32nd. Bills are 4th. So, you look at that, and you're like, well, Bills should dominate this game. But they just have not looked great. Josh Allen has been turning the ball over. So I feel like because of that, like the Broncos are going to kind of keep it close. But again, I'm not going to be surprised if the Bills just go out there and absolutely destroy the Broncos. That's just how I feel. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think the Bills should win this game. There's no reason they shouldn't. But you never know. Crazier things have happened. The Broncos offense still isn't great. Russell Wilson, again, his numbers are decent, but I'm not really scared of any of their wide receivers right now. The running game, Javonte Williams, and McLaughlin has, showed some speed in this game. But I don't know. For me, I think the Bills they win this. I think right. Well, let's look at the over under right now. So the over under is 47.5. I take the under in the game. I take the under. Because the Bills right now, they're very inconsistent on offense. Broncos, they don't score a lot either. So I don't know. I take the under. Right now, I got the Broncos covering. Bills win outright. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping Stephon Diggs doesn't have a big game because I know I'm going up against him in one of my fantasy leagues. And I also am going up against Javonte Williams in a couple. So I'm hoping both of those guys don't have big games. I do have Russ going for me in a league, but I already won that matchup, so that only just adds on to the amount of points that I'll have for the week. And that's actually my best team this year. Right now I'm going to be 8-2 in that league. So, we're looking good. And you're probably saying, how are you 8-2 when you have Russell Wilson at quarterback? Well, I have Keenan Allen. I have Tyreek Hill, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Dalton Schultz, Mike Evans, Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I mean, my quarterbacks aren't great because I have Baker, Russ. Well, Baker actually has been decent in fantasy. Russ hasn't been too bad. Russ and Jordan Love, even though Jordan Love, although he's been okay the last couple of weeks, um, he hasn't been great since the beginning of the year. Because in the beginning of the year, he's putting up 20 plus points. And I was like, wow, this was a steal. Because I traded James Cook to get Jordan Love because I had Rodgers and, everything that happened with Rodgers. I got Jordan Love, and now Jordan Love hasn't been good. But he's been showing a little bit of signs of getting out of that slump. So maybe he'll find himself back in the lineup next week, depending on what happens with Baker. Because Baker Mayfield going up against the 49ers is going to be, I don't know if I'm going to do that. So, but yeah, so I got Russ in fantasy. Just pad the stats there for my team for this week. Listen, if the Bills lose this game, you're back to 500. Broncos, you get to 4-5. This would be bad. The Bills lost this game. And, everybody's complaining about the offensive coordinator and the coaching and all that. And, I don't know. It's just something's off. I don't know what it is. I don't think Josh Allen is declining by any means. I really don't believe that. But there's got to be change there. They don't really run the football that well. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. And you also got to look at the defense too. The defense is also a problem. I think they definitely are going to have to go in a different direction in terms of play calling and depending on what happens this year. Sean McDermott, he could be on the hot seat. If this team somehow missed the playoffs, that would be an embarrassment. But I just don't see it. But you know what? The AFC is, it's unbelievable what the AFC is right now. There are a lot of teams in it. And, you basically have, now the Bengals, with them losing, they don't occupy a spot, but you basically have the AFC North, occupying, most of the playoff spots. Oh, most of the wild cards. Now with the Texans winning, now they're in. So, you're the Bills and the Bengals, you're on the outside looking in. To the Texans, to the Browns, to the Steelers. I don't think many people would have expected that. Now, I thought the Browns and the Steelers were going to be respectable teams this year, but I didn't really have them making the playoffs. But they're in it on the backs of playing good defense, running the football effectively. Well, the Browns at least. Steelers, it's kind of inconsistent. Although Jaylen Warren has looked really good the last 2 weeks. But yeah, it's a roller coaster right now. What this season is. It's crazy to think about. And we got so many weeks left in the season, so it's I really have no idea what it's going to be like towards the end, but we'll find out at some point, once we get to the end of the regular season, that's when you see how everything shapes out. So, listen, I'm excited for it. I really am. But we'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. Yeah, this game tonight, I could see it either being a close game or the Bills just dominate, but the Bills just, what they've been the last couple of weeks, I don't see it. But now, because I didn't pick them in the spread pool, now all of a sudden they're going to, now they're just going to, dominate and win by a few scores. I could see it happening. Because, again, the Broncos' offense hasn't been great. But, they're coming off of a bye, so maybe, they went into the bye week, they figured some things out, maybe they're going to look better. Maybe. It's possible. Definitely is. But I don't know. I don't really know. But the Bills, I mean, this is definitely a game to keep an eye on with them because they just haven't looked good. They have not looked good for a while. And I'm not going to say like they're on the decline. I think their defense might need some retooling in the offseason. And like I said, you're probably going to need a different you know approach with your play calling. So I mean, the offensive coordinator, I think Ken Dorsey, right? Yeah, he probably is gone after this year, depending on what happens. But to me, like you also got to run the football more. Like I feel like they just don't give James Cook enough carries. So yeah, I mean we'll just have to wait and see. I mean I listen for me. I think the Bills win tonight. But they lose tonight. I mean, heads are going to start to roll. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens, and this is the final game of Week 10. Final game of Week 10. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Previewing this game. Again, I got the Bills winning by at least 7. So, hopefully the Broncos keep it close, and I could at least get 8 for the spread pool, and then we're on to Week 11, Ravens Bengals. So, yeah, I mean another week down, and these weeks just continue to fly by, and we're more than halfway through the regular season. So, I mean, we're moving right along, and I mean, for a lot of spots, when it comes down to the playoff picture, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. We have no idea. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Great show as always. Obviously, like there are so many games that we didn't get to today that we will get to tomorrow. The performances that some players had and things like that. How the new quarterback of the Vikings did, of course, Josh Dobbs. Obviously, the Ravens-Browns game is definitely something we'll talk about tomorrow. There's a lot. And, with how this weekend went, I mean, yeah, there's just so many games to have to go over and to talk about. So I also thank you guys for bearing with me as my allergies trying to get over this cold during the show. It's just I mean, not that it like really has affected my performance, but it definitely is something that's irritating to deal with throughout. So I thank you guys for helping me deal with that. Of course, like I said, the show must go on. So yeah, that's basically it though with the show for today. Once again, I thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to tune in tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll have some shorts coming out for you later today. So make sure to look out for those. And we're sprinkled in with some baseball ones as well, of course, as we're in the off season with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me for today. So that is all the time that we have. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Kenneth Gruenfelder signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.